Good morning, YouTube! What is up, guys? Today we're doing the daily puzzle for October 13th. Let's do it. Alright, so here it is white to move, and let's think for a bit. Alright, so it looks like we have this bishop, and it's ready to defend against these two pawns, and I think this is going to be either a draw or a win. I think most likely a win, as we have this pawn here. And noticing that this bishop can guard the white squares, I think it can work really well to defend against these two pawns. So I think the first move would be bishop here. Not necessarily pushing this pawn, but maintaining control over this diagonal. I think that is really important. We don't want this king to be on this diagonal, as it would just protect these pawns and, launching and promoting, and we don't want that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and play bishop here. That is correct. The king, notice the king moved here. Notice the black pawn didn't push up, as black knew we had a king here ready to defend. And we also have a pawn for promotion as well. What else? Oh, sorry. Thought that pawn was there. What else? Okay, so now here it's a little tricky because this king is coming inside. Oops. Let's get rid of that. The king is coming inside, getting ready to attack this bishop. So it's coming on the black squares. So recognize that its next move is probably going to be f2. So what do we do against that? What we can do is, we have to come up with a sequence. We're going to trade this bishop for this pawn, and we're going to bring this king to attack this pawn, and then we're going to promote this pawn in the end. Alright, sounds like a plan? Let's go. So how do we... First, we know that this bishop already has pretty good defense against this pawn. I mean, it just remains on this diagonal, and that pawn can't really push. If it pushes, we just trade it off for the bishop, and, the bishop has done its job. Next, we have to bring our king to attack this pawn. So we have to bring it over. And notice now, if we bring our king over again, then this king, what can this king do? If we bring our king over, then most likely, I bet this king would not really care. It would just... I don't know. Actually, king to d5 actually might be the correct move. Let's think about it. King to d5, and then black's king goes to f2. What do we do after that? I think the black king actually goes to d3. And after d3, notice we're going to be attacking that pawn. So this pawn has to push, and then we'll eventually promote this pawn. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. So if we go king d5, black will play king d3, allowing this pawn to promote or capturing the only pawn we have, and we don't want that, right? We want to keep this pawn for the end, right? For that promotion to win the game. So we can't really go here because we know we're either going to lose this pawn or we're going to lose control with this pawn. We want to keep control with this pawn and we want to keep this pawn. So what move allows us to kind of keep the situation similar, but not really impacts it it doesn't really have a huge impact. The move doesn't really have a huge impact. It's a subtle move, and I think this move would be bishop h1, just keeping things where they are, maintaining this bishop on this diagonal, and keeping the king where it is. I think the king is in a comfortable spot. If it moves, it's in that zigzag type of situation where if it moves, it loses. So just a subtle move would be bishop h1, keeping the position similar. And notice if that king were to move, we would, to like f2, for example, we would take the pawn. If the king, were to advance, we would take the pawn. So really, it's impossible for black to push this pawn and this pawn without the king also protecting this pawn. It's kind of weird. So there's a whole lot of dependencies, and that's why I like the situation for white much better, because black is kind of constrained to all these, conditions where it has to protect the pawn while also trying to advance, while trying to maintain a defense over both pawns, and too many things going on. And this bishop h1 move is really nice, because if we go to analysis, if the king moves back, then it's not really doing much, right? It's just positionally, not advancing, right? I would say putting pieces back to the original position. That's not what we want, Our king easily manages to go to d4, and after e3, king d3, and this king is completely, trapped. You can't even go through f3. You would have to go around, and then finally this pawn would be traded for the bishop. But in the meantime, our king would capture this pawn like its original objective, and this pawn would win, as it would promote in the endgame. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that daily puzzle for today. I know I missed out on the last one yesterday. I was super exhausted. I couldn't do one, but I'll try to keep you guys posted on new ones. As I have mentioned before, I'll try to maintain that daily consistency. But, some days I might not be able to, but that's okay. We'll get most of them. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.